And Steve, I would turn to you. I think beyond where a Fed put might be, to play off of what Steve was talking about, I think the greater conversation within the market universe is where's the Trump put at this particular time if things...
So notice how they're talking about puts, chat? What they mean by that is, when are we getting bailed out? When are the traders going to get... The things are serious. Rich people are losing money. When is the government going to do its jobs? I might have to get a job one day. Government, bail me out. When is the government going to bail me out? If you want to know who the most communistic, class-conscious group of people are, the answer is Wall Street and billionaires. They know that the government is there to do what? Hand them money and work on their behalf. And you're considered a commie if you think the government should help regular people.
Continue to deteriorate. The president doesn't seem to be very moved by any of this to this point. Pulling into his golf club down in Florida earlier today while the markets are going down, saying that his policies will never change earlier as well. You can take from that whatever you will, but how would you react as a market participant who's watching stocks plunge yet again today?
Where's Asmongold?
Here's how.
What's Asmongold saying? Is Asmongold live? Or is Zach, what is it? Rar? What a fucking lame name. You know, Asmongold wants to talk about being
these tariffs.
Asmongold wants to talk about being some sort of like, oh, I just want comedy. Back in my day, when I was in high school, if you look like Asmongold and you named yourself Zach Rar, you would end up upside down in the toilet with your head dunking next to a turd. Back in my day, we used to beat you up. Now, not necessarily me, but people used to get beaten up for doing shit like this. If you were this neurodivergent back in the day, which he wants to return to, right? He wants to make America great again by going in the past. If you were like this, you would be getting swirlies. Zach Rar. He wants society to be meaner, guys. He wants to be meaner. You bald-headed fuck.
And these are people, and you know who really cares a lot about stocks? Two groups of people care a lot about stocks. Number one is, obviously rich people, and number two is old people. So when you have a group of people who think that boomers have fucked up the economy and they hate boomers, and now you have a system where basically boomers are getting absolutely fucked by this system, they're happy. I think that many people really don't understand how popular revenge is. And that's it. Let's remove the boomers. Well, this will remove boomers. When they run out of money and they die because they can't afford healthcare, this is a boomer remover. It will be. Now, it might take a couple of years if the stock market keeps going down, but it will kill them. Now, it doesn't kill them directly, right? But it will do it indirectly. Lamount? No, am I wrong? Of course it will. You take away people's money and then they can't afford to get healthcare and they die. Duh. It happens all the time in America.
That's what you like, though. You like that, though. That's what you advocate for, though. So you think it's good?
Not wrong. No.
Is that good?
And I'm just talking about this the way it is.
Asmongold. Hey, Asmongold. Dumb fuck. Is that good? Is that a good system? Because you support the people that make that the case. You hate people like me and Hassan who are fighting against that.
And there are some other things that were happening. So, we'll move back and forth with it, right? And but young people are not impacted by tariffs.
Casey Tron posted this this tool that analyzes the number of people in your streams and whether they're like logged in accounts. And like 40% or like 45% of Asmongold's viewers were not logged in accounts. They were just like fake non-accounts. Whereas with Hassan, it was like 20%. So 56% of his people are real. 44% were like not real or like not locked in. Doesn't mean they're not real. It just means they're not even logged in. They're not even like, so, accounts that are questionable. The viewership is questionable as to whether it's real or not. Which, if you cut Zach's viewership in half and you gave Hassan's viewership, you gave him 80% of the number he has, and Hassan would be much bigger than him. He has just enough fake accounts to be the #1 political streamer. How about that? Or non-logged in account. I don't know if they're fake or not. I don't want to throw those accusations out there as confirmed. It's just interesting analysis.
That's it. Looks like a blunt. Well, maybe so. Yeah, Schedule 1, bring it back. And it could still ruin your life. You can't afford healthcare and you have a baby or car, puts you $30K in debt you can't recover from. Yeah, no, for sure it will. Yeah, no, you're right. But I'm talking about like ratios.
For that, Asmongold? You advocate for that.
Young people need homes too. Exactly. And I think they've been using this for years. Yeah, and so there's two ways. How do you fix housing? Well, there's two ways. You either make new houses, or you get the people out of current houses. So if you have a system that by a third order of effect kills people, then that's going to fix housing a little bit, wouldn't it? It would, because they're dead. So who's going to be in the house? And that's what it's going to be. Yeah, deport illegals. I'm telling you guys, I'm telling y'all, this is what's going to happen. And you might think I'm crazy, but in time, you'll see the truth. You'd rather kill people instead of building more? I didn't say I wanted to do that. I think it's a bad idea. But what I'm saying is that other people don't.
About? You love Trump. That's his whole plan. His whole plan is to cut back on all the welfare that poor people have, right? That you hate, like Medicare and Medicaid. That gives health care to people who need it. And you want to deport a bunch of people who are working. So isn't that what you want to do? Like, and you want to throw them to countries they don't even know the language.
Most average people are like way worse than you can imagine. They are way worse than you can imagine, and you have no idea how fast and how easily they can support something that is completely dehumanizing. Yeah, supply and demand. Yeah, don't be so nihilistic, dude. I'm not nihilistic.
I would say this about Asmongold. I would say, based on this, basically what he's saying is people will become wolves, right? This is basically the Joker argument. This is legitimately what he's doing. He's saying he's the Joker and that he's going to show you that regular people will become Nazis and kill people in the right conditions. And he's going to help create those conditions for his amusement. He's the Joker-fied Asmongold. And it's like my personal opinion of people like Asmongold is they're enemies of humanity. Right? His entire purpose is to cook up bullshit, anger, and rage, and then push you to vote for Trump, who destroys people's lives, instead of supporting somebody like, I don't know, Bernie Sanders or AOC, who would have slightly increased taxes on the rich to pay for what would amount to utopic benefits for all of his viewers that would objectively make their lives better. What a fucking scumbag. And that's a fascist in a nutshell right there. Dow drops 2,000 points as Trump tariff market rout deepens. Incredible stuff.
How I reacted. So I have no market exposure at this point at all. I'm completely hedged out. So market
this guy's completely in cash.
Goes up. I don't make money. Market goes down. I don't lose money, as you know, since he was elected. And I was looked side-eyed.
This hedge fund manager went completely into cash. Oh my God! He's saying I'm completely out. That's incredible. This is CNBC. Oh my God! Is the rock? Oh, look out below, folks! Look out below. I might have to stop end stream just to start shorting shit.
Will not be good for
like I don't want to. It feels so bad to short the same day that 2,000 points went down because I know it's gonna bounce. I thought today it was going to bounce off of yesterday's crash. So I was like, well, I'll just wait till there's a positive day and then I'll go and sell a bunch. I was going to do it on Wednesday, but I didn't because of procrastination. But like, I don't know that we're going to have another positive day in a while. The S&P 500 is at -5%. That's incredible. The VIX is at 45. 45? We're getting worse than the worst day of the 2008 crash, which was 44. The all-time high was 57 intraday. It was 57 intraday. I think there was a couple days that had 89 intraday. So I think 89 is like the all-time. I would have to like, let me show candle. Candle is definitely what I need to show you. Candle. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So if you guys don't know what a candle is, I don't want to explain it to you, but look at that. Look at that candle. Woo! Look at this candle. Holy shit. Oh my god, dude. It's so funny because I don't have any stocks. So I can laugh at this. But if you have stocks, you should not be laughing. Oh, 5 years. The worst. Ooh, boo, boo, boo. So we are legitimately like, look at where the bar is of the candle. Look at the bar. It's so high. It's like never been this high. Oh my god. Oh, oh, this. Oh no. I don't see any reason to believe the panic is not going to continue. I mean, like, obviously, I think a lot of people are panicking, but I don't think they've given in. I think there's a lot of, I don't know that everybody has, like, the only reason you know when the end is, the crash is over, is when everybody is panicking. Not like when people are buying, like, people are buying, right? It's only down 2,000, which means people are buying at that number, right? 5% is a drop, but like, not that big. The biggest percentage drops in Dow history. Like, look at this. We're not even in the top 20. We're not even in the top 20 yet. We had a 9% drop, which was during pandemic, right? And then we had another 10% drop, which was during the pandemic. Oh, those are gains. Sorry, I'm wrong. These are the gains. -2,000. Okay, so let's look at the net points. This today is going to be the 4th biggest point drop ever, but it's not even going to be in the top 20 as far as percentage drop. So look out below, bitch, because it's going lower. They even colored it. Sorry, I looked at the wrong side. So this will be the 4th largest point drop in history. So depending on exactly where we are... Oh, wait, no, wait. It's the 3rd biggest point drop in history. Oh... I'm just laughing and enjoying it, guys.
Will not be good for the economy. That's in fact...
Treasury bonds are all in the red right now, not green. No, they're not. They're in the green. They're in the massive green. Oh my lord! Holy shit! The 10 years below 4%. It's been a minute. By the way, with bonds, it's opposite. With bonds, it's opposite. So when the bond yield goes down, that means the underlying bond is worth more. You guys don't understand how bonds work, which is okay. Yield refers to the return on investment, which means when yields go up, that means the underlying bond is worth less. When the yields go down, it means the underlying bond is worth more. Does that make sense? So if you own treasuries, then it went up. And your treasury bond is becoming more and more valuable. I know people don't understand this at all, which is fine. What country do we want to look at? People are buying German bonds are dumping a little bit. UK bonds are even. What about Brazil? How's Brazil doing? What about Canada? Ooh, wow. People are buying, they're buying government bonds right now. How about Japan? This is a good question. God, Japanese people are crazy, dude. Japanese people are fucking crazy, dude. They're so racist. They won't even buy white people's bonds. Holy shit, dude. I love Japanese people, man. That's awesome. How's France doing? Wow, people are selling French bonds and buying American bonds. Things are weird right now. S&P 500 is nearly 6%. We love to see it, don't we, folks? Oh my God, look at these crashes. Bwah, 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 bwah. Oh my God. Oh my Lord. We have to go back a full year. We gave up all of 2024's gains, chat. We gave all of 2024's gains. If you bought a stock and last year at about this time, you've made absolutely no money. I could definitely see us going down to like, I could definitely see another 10 grand. Your laughter is hurting my feelings and my 401k. You have a 401k. I don't feel bad for you.
Turned out to be true. So
my 401k provider is down. I might not be able to, like, I'm going to try to put money in to, I'm going to open a discretionary account. How much money should I gamble, chat? How much money should I gamble? One paycheck, half a paycheck, a quarter paycheck. One day of work, 2 days of work, 1% of net worth. IRA limit for the year.
The way I describe this is that the U.S. has gone from hunter to prey, and despite him being...
Say that again, Wall Streeter?
Make money, market goes down. I don't lose money, as you know, since he was elected. And while I was looked side-eyed at this when I said very clearly that Trump will not be good for markets, will not be good for the economy, that's in fact turned out to be true. So the way I describe this is that the U.S. has gone from hunter to prey. And despite him being the great negotiator, which nobody's ever able to point out where he's been a great negotiator. I could point to his purchase, setting an all-time high record for a hotel at $400 million, only to turn around and sell it at a loss at $325, only for those buyers to turn around and sell it for $600, as evidence that he's not. So what I mean by we've gone from hunter to prey is that he underestimated what his adversaries, which he views as adversaries, I view as trading partners, can do. So they've got their own constituencies. So they cannot be viewed like a weak-kneed law firm as kowtowing to the president, because their referendum is by their people. So, look, I think we've got real risks here.
He's right. By the way, I agree completely with this guy. This guy's intelligent as fuck. This guy's intelligent as fuck. Here's the one thing I want you guys to never forget this as socialists. Don't think that capitalists are stupid. In fact, they are not. The thing about the reason why capitalists are in power is because they know how to rule. And I think a lot of socialists, one of the big things that one of the impediments to the left and kind of moving beyond capitalism is that a lot of socialists don't know how to rule. They don't know how to fight back in the ground of contending for real power. They know how to do interpersonal shit. They know how to make good emotional arguments. They know how to use their brain and study, but they don't know how to dominate the class enemy. And this is the problem, is that they do know how to dominate you, and they think about it every day, all day. You're not even playing the game yet. And the other thing they know is the left is the only real threat. Every capitalist understands this. The left is the only big threat. The only thing that the other groups can do is fuck things up in the immediate short term. but the left is the only existential threat. Okay? To a capitalist, they'll go with Hitler 10 times before they would go with Bernie once.
Market right now, the average 25-year multiple is under 17 times. We have only begun to see, led by David Kostin, a decline in earnings. If you put a 17 multiple on his, I think he's at about 240.
He's at 260. No, he's 265 next year. For next year. He's down to 269 for next year. I'm talking next year. Right. This year almost seems like, I mean.
Well, this year we're still early this year, and there's so much that could happen, and typically you would look at another year. But this is not a typical year in terms of the events that happen on a day-to-day basis that have to really inform your view, rather than, as Jim is likely to point out, and he's a good investor, that the jobs number was strong. That's historic. Doesn't include the cuts. Doesn't include the cuts we're going to see corporations. So the bottom line is, I think that next stop could very well be 4,500. It could go lower. Right now, we're still trading near 20 times on a forward 12 basis. You trade at those extended multiples, and they are historically extended when you have an accommodative interest rate policy, when you have.
So what he's talking about is he's saying the stock market is going to dump. He's saying that it's a bubble. The stock market is going to dump. The companies are overvalued, and everything is getting worse. He is basically predicting doom. This man is predicting doom, and he's using investor capitalist terms, and I can explain all of them if you want me to. But he's basically saying companies are currently valued as if the economy is roaring and going to be better for the future, even after this crash. And he's saying that if we are to imagine how companies would be valued if it was closer to like being a conservative or declining economy, that the stock market will decline another 10%, 20%, 30%. Whoa!
Clear strategies and an economy that is still moving forward. Here you've got the opposite. Stagnation remains the most important word. And to Steve's point, and Steve is must-see TV because he's one of the best thinkers on the network, present company excluded.
Thank you.
Those are the questions.
No offense taken.
The Fed can't do anything. There is no Trump put. Trump's not going to back away. And if he does, it's not good either. It just breeds the uncertainty. So bottom line is, I'd rather miss 10% up than catch another 10% down, because this is when you protect capital, not when you make bets because you think that's what your clients want you to do.
Tony Pasquarello's call of a week ago seems so prescient in terms of preservation of capital, right? The game has changed. I'm paraphrasing from his notes.
Preservation of capital? I think one of the things I really love about myself is I know what these terms mean to capitalists. Preservation of capital? Oh my God! Okay. How do I explain this to regular people? They are saying that the economy is under such bad leadership that the very existence of their wealth is in question. They are saying everything is so uncertain that we're just going to hold and hug gold bars alone in our vaults because it's so scary. Things haven't even gone bad yet.
Seems so prescient in terms of preservation of capital, right? The game has changed. I'm paraphrasing from his note that he put out last week, or maybe it was at the beginning of this week. I don't remember, but the point was clear. Preservation of capital, the game has changed. A game in which, Jim, RBC's Lori Calvasina has now cut her S&P target for the second time. She's at 5550 for the year. UBS joins the parade of firms that have downgraded U.S. equities They cut their price target as well for the second time. They're at 5,800. JP Morgan talks today about there will be blood. The odds of a global recession this year to 60%. Mohamed El-Arian, uncomfortably high, the risks of recession. Jeremy Siegel, biggest policy mistake in 95 years. Ed Yardeni, I pointed out earlier this week, you lose him, you lost it. Because he's just bullish.
Getting harder to be optimistic. Biggest policy mistake in 75 years. Risk of U.S. recession uncomfortably high. There will be blood from JP Morgan. Oh my Lord, we are. Oh my God.
Getting harder to be optimistic, he said. When you lose the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal, they've been critical of tariff policy from the outset. Quote, Mr. Trump is acting with little understanding about the damage his tariffs will cause. The quote-unquote disturbance might not be as little as he imagines. The FT says it's America's astonishing act of tariffs will cause. The quote-unquote disturbance might not be as
I think it's safe to say it's suicide watch with the capitalists. It's suicide watch for the capitalists right now. Watching the capitalist press, they're on suicide watch right now. I'm laughing because whatever. This is something about me. When I'm in pain, I laugh. It's very psychotic. But when I'm in pain, I laugh. And I am just imagining the suffering that is to come. A lot of you are too young to really remember the Great Recession.
as little as he imagines.
Mike, I got into those SPY puts. The volume on the day changed from 2,000 to 4,000 since I mentioned it to you. The ask price doubled from 67 to 128. These things are screaming. You owe me money, you motherfucker. Pay me 10% of your profit. Pay me 10% of your profit when you book it. That's the least you could do.
The FT says it's America's astonishing act of self-harm. What do you do with all that? What do you do?
I think what you do is you ask the question, what is the market pricing in at this point in time? Clearly, the risks have risen extraordinarily. My take, and this is very subjective, is that today's actions combined with yesterday's action is the market's way of embracing all of the negative and not even the slightest possibility that this could work. What is this that I refer to? This is the new economic ideology. It's very clear what it is. I don't care whether you agree with it or not. The ideology is we're going to replace income and corporate taxes with tariffs, and we're going to do that in a context of a smaller government. I have no idea if that will work or not, nor does anyone else. That's the bad news. The good news is we're going to find out. We're going to find out pretty quickly. As far as the Trump...
What? First of all, no modern country can run off tariffs alone, you dumb sack of shit. All that will happen is rich people will claim income in America and then spend abroad. That'll make the rich people completely untaxable, you dumbass!
Put goes, and I'm in agreement with you on this, Steve. I would not want to see the Trump put in play because America wants to right now know what the rules of the road are and go forward with them. I was at a client dinner last night with 25 clients, many of whom were business owners, and most of them were talking about, okay, if these are the rules of the road, then let me adjust to it. Let me adjust production where it needs to be. Let me control costs where I can and move forward. That is American ingenuity. That is American drive. That is
These
ingenuity and drive that far
are
surpasses
insane.
ingenuity and drive anywhere else in the world. It is.
Okay, so this is just delusional, xenophobic chest thumping and a replacing of actual argument. We are fucked! They are on full-blown cope!
is what has always come to the rescue in moments like this. It may take time. It may take time. I'm not saying that today is the bottom, but I will say that down 15% in the S&P 500 is not a point at which I want to sell.
There are some things, Bryn, that investors are going to look at and say, you know, it's so bad, it's got to be good or close to it at this point. I point out your move today in Nike, down 15% this week, right in the crosshairs of tariffs related to China. And you bought it. You bought the stock. Why? Why now?
Really more Vietnam. I bought it yesterday, and really it's in relation to Vietnam. And so I think that whoever made that board that Trump had out should be fired with the math. Vietnam does not have a 90% tariff. It's absurd. They have a 5% tariff. And so what we have to decide as a country is, what do we actually want to manufacture here, and what do we actually want to manufacture in great countries like Vietnam? Nike, Restoration Hardware, Wayfair all moved much of their manufacturing out of China during Trump's first presidency into Vietnam. Vietnam is happy to make these. Nike pays these people probably like $5,000 or $6,000 a year. They're happy to make them, and we do not want to export those jobs. My sense is there is going to be a reckoning between the U.S. and Vietnam. And actually, I think 20 minutes ago, Trump posted on his True Social that he just had
By the way, I love the business press. I love the business press for just being honest and straightforward. They want to pay workers $6,000 a year. That's why she invested in Vietnam, because they could pay workers $6,000 a year to make your Nikes they sell for $300 a pair.
Conversation with the general secretary of Vietnam, and they want to bring down their tariffs, which once again are 5%, not 90. And so to me, it's like a beaten up name. I just think it's overdone. I think the stock could trade back up to $70 pretty quickly, because we do not want to import these types of manufacturing to America. No Americans want those jobs. So to me, it was a trade. I think it's a fat pitch. I think Wayfair, Restoration Hardware, I think you're going to get some reprieve from these types of American companies doing the right thing.
You got anything, Jason, on your list in the spirit of what Bryn is doing and looking at in the market? What do you think?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a couple of things for me. As it relates to retail, obviously, you look at the RH blowout yesterday. I mean, the stock's down almost 40% in the last 2 days. You know, an American Wayfair, there's a number of names that I think have gotten really punched in the mouth. For me, I think about Apple, right? 90% of Apple's assembly and supply chains are in China. The stock was down almost 10% yesterday. It's down a lot today.
Below $200,
below
I think, right?
200
earlier, yeah.
It's felt a lot of pain. We came into this year talking about the blunders in AI, and that was the concern. That was the weight on the stock. Then we start to look at the multiple, and then we look at the earnings growth. And obviously they've been moving their supply chains to India. They've been trying to figure out other things. But when I think about companies like that, they're the greatest companies in the world that sell premium products and have continued to monetize their services business. I think that this move is somewhat overblown. And those are the types of names that we like to take.
I mean, the mag.
At the Washington Post. So, Brian, explain what Fed chairman just said this morning in this conference there in Arlington.
I thought you had smarter viewers here. Why? What happened? What's wrong?
Well, I got three words
tech?
for you to start out, Jose, and good morning, good afternoon, whatever, is global trade war. And that is the new challenge that Jerome Powell and the Federal...
AI and Bitcoin is bigger than the internet and smartphones. Bitcoin is basically a worthless speculative investment that's being propped up by the capitalist class. It doesn't have any use value at all. It doesn't have any exchange value. It is just literally a speculative coin for internet nerds. AI is smartphones. It's not AI. It is a very advanced computer averaging program. It's not intellect. There's no intellect to it. It hallucinates. It creates cockamamie bullshit. The art it creates is commercial slop. It's a large language model, not AI. If they actually were AI, then it would be a different opinion.
Federal Reserve now face. Before, what we talked about was inflation, the high cost
Doesn't mean
of
you
everything.
can't get utility out of it. It's just a lot smaller than what you pretend it to be, and it costs a lot more than it can ever generate in value and return.
Homes, mortgages, cars, whatever, caught up in the COVID supply chain crunch that we had a couple of years ago. Prices still too darn high. I will filter myself as it's a family show. And now all of a sudden, the Federal Reserve is finding itself trying to fight this tariff, this trade war, which I don't want to say came out of the blue, but certainly is a lot worse than people expected. I'm not sure anybody on Wall Street that we have talked to here on CNBC expected the president to do exactly what he did. Most people said, well, you know what? He's just hubris. He's going to say this, but ultimately we're not going to get the worst. Well, guess what? We got the worst and then some. Now, to your point, Jose, China's responding. What did Jay Powell say today, the Fed chair? Well, number one, he said, I'm not going to respond to what the president did because the Federal Reserve is not supposed to respond to elected officials. But if you read between the lines, and I can assure you there is no love lost between these two men, Jay Powell and President Trump. President Trump wants lower interest rates, lower mortgages, and lower inflation. He has openly called for the Federal Reserve to cut rates. The Federal Reserve, though, now is believing that if tariffs are enacted, as we know that they will be, prices are likely to rise. That's inflation, and the Federal Reserve does not cut rates in inflation. If anything, it might keep rates steady or perhaps even raise them. So this is a global conundrum that, as we're seeing from the charts and the numbers today, Wall Street is caught in the middle of, and it's kind of a sell first, ask questions later theory.
And Garrett, meanwhile, going back to that mixed message that we were talking about by the president, on the one hand, he says tariffs give the U.S. the power to negotiate, but then this morning saying his policies will never change. What are you hearing out of the White House as far as, is there a specific stick to message, or is this part of the negotiating tactic to have mixed messages?
Yeah, I think mixed messages is putting it mildly, Jose. You have the White House and the president oftentimes at loggerheads here over what exactly is going on. And I think there are really two.
I think there's also the problem of a certain type of base level incompetence. Like, I think a lot of people are they don't understand the base level of incompetence we have in the government. And it's starting, it's been a problem for a long time. And it's actually been Xi's biggest argument. Like, the communists have been saying this in they publish a lot of their analysis of the United States publicly. And what the Chinese communists have been saying is, America's system is a lot worse than ours because there's no meritocracy. They are consumed with worthless media environment that doesn't communicate any information. And all the politicians are captured by various special interests that harm the larger interests of the country as a whole. And we're basically three corrupt corporations in a trench coat, and that our political class is completely undemocratic and unresponsive to the needs of the country, and isn't able to properly evaluate the conditions in the country. So we have a problem of will, we have a problem of knowledge, and we have a problem of skill. That's what the Chinese have said about us. And all they need to do is just keep building themselves up, keep engaging in profitable and mutually beneficial agreements with the world, be the guarantor of international law, be the supporter of international law, and the United States will eventually implode on itself. That has basically been their analysis. And they're being proven definitively right.
Reasons for that. The first is that the justification for these tariffs and the fact that the president can impose them unilaterally is that he's declared a national emergency here. He's saying to the country essentially that this is such a big deal. I have to address it unilaterally in this moment quite quickly with emergency economic powers. That argument does not lend itself so well to then having 60 plus individual negotiations about trade deals with different countries. And so what you're seeing is, I think, White House officials, people who draw a salary from the federal government who aren't Donald Trump, trying to stick by that message that this is a fundamental reordering of the U.S. economy. It's an emergency. It's got to be done this way. And you might just have to kind of wait out some of the pain, contrasted with the president's message, which is art of the deal. I'm out here talking to foreign leaders. We're open for calls. Come on in and we'll see what deals we can strike for the American people. It's consistent with the sort of inconsistency with which they've approached tariffs going back to the campaign. Donald Trump sees these tariffs as a solution to any variety of problems, just depending on how he applies it and sometimes how he chooses to talk about it from moment to moment.
Catherine, I was just wondering, I mean, the president continues to insist that the country is going to boom. We're seeing what the market's saying, and it's been already 48 hours saying. How long will Americans deal with and put up with that disconnect?
The problem here is not only that tariffs raise prices, they also slow growth. That's how you get the dreaded S word, stagflation, that you get higher prices, slower growth, potentially layoffs, potentially a recession, which is the worst of all possible outcomes, not only because those forces in and of themselves are very painful. Nobody likes higher inflation. Nobody likes recession, layoffs, slowdown, etc. But also because there are not a lot of great tools that will simultaneously deal with both problems. So as we heard earlier, the Federal Reserve may well decide it's not a good time to continue cutting rates. They've been on pause for a while, but it's especially...
Maybe I should go shopping this weekend. Maybe I should pick up some clothes, or maybe I should go pick up some shoes. I haven't bought any clothes in a while.
A bad time if, in fact, prices continue to rise. If these tariffs not only have a one-time increase, lead to a one-time increase in prices, but feed into trend inflation that basically...
Are the 1590 out yet?
People start to anticipate higher prices, and so they set prices higher.
Maybe I should buy one.
And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The remedy that the Federal Reserve would take to deal with that issue is raising rates. But if we also have a recession, if we also have mass layoffs, if we have a slowdown, the remedy for that from the Federal Reserve would be cutting rates. So these objectives are obviously at odds. And so not only has Trump forced us
It's called stagflation, baby. That's when you have the recession plus inflation.
This very difficult position where we end up with basically all of the worst economic outcomes on various dimensions that you can imagine, but it'll be really hard to get ourselves out of it, particularly if there is no end game to this trade war, as it really sounds like there isn't.
This is who we're trying to fight a war against, chat. This entire city was built in the last 25 years. This is who we're fighting a trade war against.
Bring it back and switch it right now.
Let's wait out here.
Okay, you can take a picture after this. Middle! Quick. Middle, yeah. Quick.
Wow. So this is Cyber City, Chongqing, China. Wow.
Cable cart across the river as a pedestrian.
Is it supposed to do that?
Right now, ASAP, right away, as quick as you can.
Shit, crazy.
No, not yet.
So we get off over there.
Okay. So this bridge name is Dongshuimen Bridge. It's used to be highway and subway.
Oh, really?
Yeah, under is subway. Subway line.
Damn. What? Oh.
They've got emotes on the buildings, for fuck's sake.
3, 2, 1.
This is my hometown, chat. 25 years ago, this didn't exist. There's always been drug markets. There's always been places where people were publicly using drugs. But now it's at the point where every single thing you see is rotten. Most of these buildings were probably built in the 60s or earlier. I'm pretty sure this overhead rail was built in the 20s, but I'd have to check. This is dystopian. Somebody said it looks dystopian when they were talking about the Xinjiang, or when they were talking about China in general, and I was like, that's dystopian to you? That was dystopian to you? What about this reality? Middle of the day. Steel shutters on every building. But hey, we got a pawn shop at least. Pawn shop billboard. Because I'm Silicon Valley brand? Yeah, I'm sorry. Nodders. Smoke time. China is cyberpunk in the rich areas. The US is cyberpunk in the poor areas. Where's the US cyberpunk? This isn't even cyberpunk. Just rotten. Do not sit here. I'm just walking your child to the local school. Beautiful stuff. That's the most powerful country in the world, which is now charging tariffs. Oh, did we get a little bit of a bounce off of the bottom? Okay, we didn't get quite down. We fought off the 2000 number. People see this and say they need to pull themselves up by the bootstraps, not how can we help them provide for themselves and their communities by providing opportunity, because really public spending on infrastructure would create jobs and improve the state of all these buildings and infrastructure for the better. All right, chat. Well, I agree, and I don't know how to fix that. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out with me today. I want to remind you, I'm sending you over to VO. I'm going to play a little bit of Schedule 1 with VO again. We're going to do the only thing that Americans know how to do, which is sell illegal drugs to their community, making everyone addicted. But don't worry. Also, tonight we watch a movie together in the Discord. I'm spamming the Discord at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. We're going to be watching more of that, the show. We're going to be watching more of the show. It is called... Oh, we're watching Top Secret tonight. In honor of Val Kilmer. He travels to East Germany. We're watching a Val Kilmer flick in honor of recently deceased actor Val Kilmer. I'm going to send you guys over to VO Stream. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Hope you enjoyed the beginning of the collapse of the American empire. And hopefully we can build something from the ashes. All right, everybody. Peace out. I'll see you soon.